We are currently experiencing a full winter storm here in Kentucky, and even though we have 4+ inches of snow outside, I have spring on my mind. I am in full decluttering mode in my home. So I spent this week working on purging clothes the kids have outgrown and going through my basement and trying to simplify things that just take up space in my home. I've also been cooking some meals, and so I can't wait to share what I've been cooking with you all, and also share how I have tried to declutter each space that I know that needs tackled. I don't enjoy doing this. It makes me feel good after I accomplish it, but it's not something that I just generally enjoy doing. I have to work up quite a bit of motivation to just start the whole decluttering process. I do declutter my home pretty often, so I am just someone that doesn't do well whenever I have a lot of clutter in my home, or if I know that there's a space that's super unorganized or isn't functioning for my family. Honestly, I just don't function well with that. I don't function well in a home that isn't organized or clean or any of those things, and that's just my own personal preference. So I really do try to stay on top of cleaning and purging items that I don't need and getting rid of things. And so if you're also doing that right now, and this is a great video for you, I think a lot of people are kind of trying to get their homes in order before spring, or they're doing spring cleaning, and so this is a really good time to dive into your home and go through some of those things that you don't need. And something that has really worked for me is trying to tackle one space at a time, or sometimes I'll do one space at a time, or sometimes I'll just go from room to room to room. And so this week I really worked on closets and clothing and laundry processes. So I not only wanted to purge the clothing items that we had in our home, but I also really wanted to switch up my laundry system and make it a little bit more efficient. And so instead of bringing all of my laundry upstairs to lay out on my bed and fold and put away and all those things, I really wanted to be able to pull it straight out of the dryer and have all my hangers downstairs with a clothing rack, fold what I need to fold, hang up what I need to hang up, and then bring it upstairs and put it away. Because this is what happens. Typically when I do laundry, I got to where I would bring up all of the dry laundry, put it on my bed, and I would lay everything out so that it wouldn't wrinkle. And then something would come up, or I would get distracted, and then my clothes would lay there and they would stack up, and I wouldn't put them away as soon as I needed to. And so that was becoming a problem for me. And I do 1 load of laundry a day, but if I'm doing 1 load of laundry a day, but then I'm not putting the clothes away, I'm just laying them flat, then I have 2 or 3 days worth of clothes just laying there, and it was really starting to get on my nerves. And so I just wanted to start being more intentional about taking the clothes straight from the dryer and putting them on hangers. That way I could at least have them already on the hangers and hanging down there on the clothing rack, so they weren't laying on a chair or a nightstand or dresser somewhere. At least they were put away in a sense, but that way I could just bring them straight up and hang them in the closet or put them into the dresser drawer so that I wouldn't have to worry about that. So that's something else I really wanted to work on. So aside from the clothing, I also went through some of my basement items that I knew I didn't need. When you're trying to really simplify the items in your home, what I've found is that you want to hold on to things because you think, I'm going to use this, or I might need this in the future. And what I've really learned over the years of trying to minimize the items that I keep in my home is that I typically don't miss it. Just like a popcorn maker that we got over the summer, and I even told my husband that we didn't need it. I was like, we don't need that, we're not going to use it. And he wanted it, we bought it. Of course we bought it at a yard sale, but we just didn't use it. It sat. We always either pop popcorn on the microwave or we pop it on the stove, and so that was just kind of wasted, and we really didn't need it. Also, the things in my basement that are just sitting there, like I have a Cricut maker that I don't actually ever use. It's a really nice machine. It works, it functions, and I've been just waiting. I'm like, maybe I'll use it. Maybe I'll, get into crafting with it, and I just never have. And it makes me feel guilty because it was expensive, And instead of holding on to it and thinking, oh, I may use this, I may use this, I may use this, I'm just going to part with it. I'm going to part ways with it and allow someone else to have it that could probably put it to better use than I can. And so that's where I'm at with my decluttering journey. And I will kind of go through that with you all as I continue to purge my home of all of these items that I don't really need. I haven't updated y'all on the farm in a while, and it's cold and it's been rainy, snowy, or freezing cold here in Kentucky all winter long. We have not had a mild winter. We've had a few mild days, but mostly it's been very cold and snowy or rainy. And so honestly, I haven't been outside very much. Dave's been taking care of the pigs and feeding the animals and doing things like that. That's usually his thing, especially in the wintertime. And in the summertime, I don't care at all to help. I'm happy to be out there and check on the chickens or feed the pigs or do any of those things. But I just am not a huge fan of being outside when it's really cold out. And so I just wanted to let you all know we do have our chickens still, and we still have our pigs, and we're hoping to add a few more chickens to our flock because right now we're down to 9. And so we lost several chickens last year. And we are just now starting to get more eggs built back up. And so I'm really excited because we've been having to buy store-bought eggs. And even though I do buy the good organic store-bought eggs or the free-range eggs, it's still not the same as our eggs. I still love our eggs the most. So we had about a whole tray of our own eggs. And so I was excited to get to use those this week, and I made a really yummy quiche. I baked my bacon in the oven. I don't know if you do that, but I started doing this a while ago because it is so much easier. It is so much cleaner to just place the bacon in the oven at 425 for 10 to 12 minutes on parchment paper and let it bake. It doesn't curl up, it stays flat, and it cooks evenly, and the grease is caught in the parchment paper, which just makes the whole cleanup process a lot easier. So I was making a fresh egg quiche, and I hadn't made one in a good long while. So I used our farm fresh eggs, I used some of our raw milk, and then I added in the bacon, and I added in some cottage cheese. And so normally I'll add in some vegetables or some peppers or something like that, but I was just keeping it really simple because I just wanted to get this made and in the oven. And so that's all I added into it. I didn't overcomplicate it. I baked it in my cast iron skillet for 375. I know it was at 375 for 30 minutes. And so it cooked evenly and was delicious. And then I love it because you can cut it into triangles or squares or whatever, and you can save it and store it and reheat it throughout the week. So if it's something that you want to prep, it's a really easy thing to make ahead. And I love anything that I can make ahead of time. So this was 10 eggs, half a pound of bacon, probably about half a cup of cottage cheese, and then some milk whisked in with the eggs. I do not use any kind of crust for my quiche. Some people use a crust. I don't. You could if you wanted to, but I just like, about spilled it. I just like just the plain egg quiche. And so sometimes I'll put it into a wrap and eat it that way. Sometimes I'll heat it up and then add fresh salsa on top. It can be used as a side item if you want to make biscuits and gravy or something else for breakfast, or it can just be eaten as its own. And so if you just need something that is healthy and quick and easy, this is really good, packed full of protein, and who doesn't love bacon? So if you want to try it, I absolutely recommend trying it. while we're on the topic of breakfast recipes, I tried a new one a little while ago, and so I don't typically buy bagels. I don't know, we're not a big huge bagel family. I don't make bagels. And so we had some. I had bought some bagels, and they hadn't been getting eaten. Obviously, I don't know what kind of was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna try bagels. And then they didn't get eaten. These were blueberry bagels, and so I thought the kids would like them, and they just weren't that excited about them. So I found a recipe online for using leftover bagels, and so these weren't super stale. The recipe said that it would have been better if the bagels were more stale. These weren't very stale. They were a little on the dry side, but I wouldn't call them stale. And so what you do is just rip up your bagel. You want to obviously grease your casserole dish, and then you want to rip your bagel up into bite-sized pieces and spread onto your dish, and then add in an 8-ounce block of cream cheese. Just sprinkle the cream cheese all throughout, and then you want to pour some blueberry pie filling over top. You could make your own blueberry, like if you wanted to cook blueberries with some sugar over the stove, you could definitely do that, but I was just trying to make this quick because I was actually taking it to Sunday school, and so I was trying to make it quick. I had some blueberry filling on hand, so that's what I used to pour over the top. And then you whisk a bunch of eggs. I think I did 10 eggs, and with a little milk, pour that over top, let it sit overnight, and then you bake it in the oven at 350 for 35 minutes, basically just until your eggs are done. And then I think it would be really good. I did not add a glaze over top of it, but I think it needed a glaze. And so if you wanted to do some type of, I don't know, maybe a cream cheese icing, there's already cream cheese in it, or maybe a lemon glaze icing would be really good. It just needed a little bit more sweet. I feel like it had a lot of the blueberry flavor. It had a good texture, but it needed a little bit more sweet. So either add in a little bit of sugar or do a yummy, delicious, some type of a glaze or a frosting, I think would be really, really good with this. Even like a whipped icing maybe. I'm just trying to go through some things I think would be good with it. So it was a fun change up from what I normally would make, because like I said, it's not something I would have normally thought of, but it turned out really good. So if you're ever in the position where you have some leftover bagels, or you're just a bagel person in general and you want to try it, I would recommend trying it. Just give it a shot, but definitely do some type of icing. That way it's a little bit sweeter. I don't know if I am just anticipating the spring and summer months, but I had a craving for some yummy pasta salad, and so it had been a minute since I had this. I don't think I've actually made a homemade pasta salad since over the summer. So I was craving some cucumbers and some tomatoes, and just the freshness and the coldness of the pasta salad sounded so good to me. So I decided to make one up, and I just used garden rotini noodles and boiled those, drained them, and added in some chopped up cucumber, some chopped up tomato. I didn't do any onion or anything. I did add in some of this yellow bell pepper, and I added in some Italian dressing. And so I also added in the tiny little pepperonis. You can buy the tiny little bite-sized pepperonis, and I added those in, and I also boiled some eggs and added in some eggs. So it had the pepperonis, some eggs, some different veggies, and so it was a really good combination of everything. And anytime that I make pasta salad, I usually prepare it the night before and let it sit and marinate in the refrigerator overnight. It just has that good flavor. Everything just kind of soaks and blends together overnight, and then the next day it's really fresh and delicious. And so I whipped that up and it turned out really good, and my daughter really loves this pasta salad, so she was super excited about it. And like I said, I don't normally make it this time of year, but it was just something about having it on hand. We were doing some sloppy joes and I thought, well, pasta salad really goes well with that. So we added that onto our menu and had some pasta salad for several days afterwards. So thank you all again so much for sticking around. This video has been so fun to put together, and like I said, I've been trying to kind of make time to do all the things, but I'm getting back in the swing of filming and doing recipes and making videos, and it's been so fun. I have a lot of more exciting things to share, a lot of more recipes, and I'm getting ready to do all of my seeds, so I can't wait to share that video with you all as well. So stay tuned for that video upcoming, more recipes, and hopefully some spring weather. Let's just cross our fingers for some spring weather, but you all stay safe and have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you all again.